It was a moonless night when I decided to take the car and drive through the darkness of the deserted countryside. I needed to clear my mind, and the quiet road seemed to be the only refuge. The engine's roar and the glow of the headlights cut through the darkness as the nocturnal silence enveloped the world. The road twisted like a dark serpent, its path outlined only by faded road signs. My heart beat slowly to the rhythm of the monotonous, flashing lights. No other vehicles were in sight. Only the sound of my breathing and the hum of the car accompanied me on this endless night. As I progressed, the atmosphere changed. The starry sky hid behind dark clouds, casting a veil of mystery over the road. A sense of unease began to creep inside me, as if something in the air had come to life. I tried to dismiss the thought, attributing it to fatigue or the effect of the nocturnal solitude. I kept driving, but the road seemed endless, without conclusion. The shadows of the trees along the road took on ghostly forms, dancing in a sinister manner as I passed by. My gaze focused on the asphalt, trying to avoid the impenetrable darkness that surrounded the road. Then, I felt something strange. A whisper, barely perceptible, filtered through the engine's noise. I looked up and saw an indistinct figure, a dark presence reflected in the rearview mirrors. Every time I turned my head, it seemed to disappear, but the whisper persisted. I decided to ignore that unpleasant feeling and continued my journey through the darkness. However, the road began to change. Curves I didn't remember, road signs that seemed out of place. I felt trapped in a nocturnal labyrinth, surrounded by darkness that had come to life. The whisper turned into a sinister murmur, indistinct words penetrating my mind. In terror, I tried to accelerate, but the car seemed to have lost control. The lights flickered, the engine gasped as if suffocating. That was when I saw the dark figure appear in the back seat. A shapeless shadow, shiny eyes fixed on me. My heart raced, and the murmur turned into a demonic laughter, a sound that echoed in the car's cabin. In panic, I slammed the brakes. The car stopped at the edge of a dark forest. The laughter vanished, but the figure remained, staring at me with vacant eyes. I shook my head, trying to free myself from that nightmare. When I finally mustered the courage to look back at the rear seat, the figure had disappeared. Silence returned. Only the hum of the engine broke the nocturnal stillness. Trembling, I turned on the lights, and ahead of me, the road revealed itself as a normal stretch of asphalt. Even today, I don't know if what I experienced was a result of fatigue or if I crossed the boundary between the real world and the realm of nightmares. That night, however, I learned that darkness hides more than our eyes can see, and sometimes it's better not to delve too deeply into the mysteries of the night.
On a moonlit night, seeking a reprieve from the daily grind, I set out to drive through the desolate roads of the nearby countryside. The air carried a crisp chill, and the wind rustled through the leaves, creating an ambience of serene isolation. With the steady hum of the engine as my only companion, I embarked on this nocturnal journey, without a specific destination in mind. The road meandered through the undulating terrain, flanked by shadowy hills and dense woods. The moon cast a silvery glow, providing intermittent glimpses into the surrounding landscape. Passing through quiet hamlets, the warm glow from isolated houses hinted at the lives within as I continued deeper into the night. Eventually, I encountered an aged sign pointing towards an unfamiliar, dimly lit side road. My curiosity piqued, I decided to venture onto this obscure path. The road transitioned into a narrow trail, surrounded by towering trees that whispered ancient secrets in the rustling of their leaves. As I advanced, a sense of solitude and tranquility enveloped me. The headlights carved a narrow path, revealing the rugged beauty of the landscape. Yet, the surroundings remained true to the realm of reality, devoid of spectral apparitions or otherworldly occurrences. Suddenly, the tranquility was disrupted as I noticed a flickering light ahead. Drawing closer, I discerned an old cemetery bathed in the moon's glow. Tombstones, weathered by time, told tales of lives lived long ago. The atmosphere was eerie, yet nothing overtly supernatural manifested. Continuing along the route, the road brought me back to more familiar surroundings. The moonlight illuminated the path as I retraced my route, leaving behind the cemetery and its silent occupants. The night retained its quiet charm, and the shadows cast by the trees played tricks on the periphery of my vision. Reflecting on the journey, I realized that the eeriness experienced stemmed from the interplay of moonlight, shadows, and the stillness of the night. While the imagination can sometimes embellish reality, this nocturnal drive proved to be a genuine exploration of the mysteries that the night can unveil.
On a stormy night, lightning slashed through the blackened sky as I drove along a remote road winding through the hills. Rain hammered the car roof, and the wind howled through the trees like an eerie lament. Tension hung in the air, and the atmosphere seemed pregnant with a sinister foreboding. I decided to stop in a small village nestled on the edge of the forest. The houses appeared abandoned, and the deserted streets were shrouded in an unsettling silence. Only an old inn showed signs of life, with a dim light filtering through the curtains. Entering the inn, a bell jingled as the door swung open. The interior was cloaked in a heavy atmosphere. The crackling of the fireplace and the wind's eerie whistle blended into a sinister harmony. The innkeeper, a man whose face bore the marks of years and events, scrutinized me with probing eyes. I requested a room for the night, and after a brief exchange, he handed me a key with an odd smile that seemed to conceal something dark. The room was modest, with peeling walls and a bed groaning under the weight of time. I decided to turn on the table lamp and leaf through a book in the hope of dispelling the discomfort lingering in the air. In the dead of night, I was awakened by a piercing sound from the corridor. I jumped up, trying to understand what was happening. Hasty footsteps and hushed whispers confirmed that something disturbing was afoot. I quickly donned my coat and ventured into the dark hallway. Shadows danced on the walls as I made my way towards the source of the noise. Standing in front of a slightly ajar door, I glimpsed the innkeeper and another man engaged in a heated discussion. Their whispers were agitated, and I could barely make out words like debt and vengeance. In a moment of silence, the innkeeper noticed my presence. His eyes, illuminated by the faint candlelight, locked onto mine with cold determination. I knew something sinister was about to unfold. Without warning, the other man drew a knife from his belt and plunged it into the innkeeper's heart. The room filled with muffled cries as the body fell heavily to the floor. My mind refused to accept the brutality of the murder I had just witnessed. The murderer turned towards me with a remorseless gaze. His face twisted with a mix of madness and satisfaction. Swiftly, he advanced in my direction. My survival instinct took over, and I ran along the darkened hallway, trying to escape the fury of a man without remorse. Rain pelted against the windows as I fled the inn. The village, so silent before, was now filled with the scream of the storm and the horror of what I had just witnessed. As the moonlight broke through the clouds, I continued running through the night, carrying with me the weight of an unspeakable truth and the memory of a murder that would cast an indelible shadow on my soul.